Hi everybody, welcome back to the KL White-Hartman YouTube channel. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for coming back to watch another video. That means a lot to me, and I hope that it's encouraging you as well. If you're new here, I want to encourage you to go back and check out the other videos because they're going to give you some background information on who I am and why I'm here and how I got here, and they're also going to explain what this page is all about. These videos are based directly on things that my mentors taught me over the past decade that have changed my life radically. And so I'm going to share that information with you on this channel because I believe that if my life can be changed by it, that yours definitely can. And I also believe that every single one of you has a purpose and a plan for your life and something that only you can accomplish. And so I want to give you the tools that can help you accomplish that. So welcome to this page. All right, now this is part 2 of a 2-part video. In the first part, I explained to you one of the most important things that my mentor started to teach me right off the bat, and that was that the words of my mouth mattered. And you guys, I thought that was crazy talk. I was like, this is nonsense. How could the words of my mouth actually come true in my life? How could they actually affect me? But the truth is, you guys, that when we believe lies, they affect us as if they're true. That's something that my mentor told me. And I found this principle right in the scriptures where it says in Proverbs that the power of life and death are in the tongue. So what we're speaking out of our mouth truly brings about results in our lives. And I don't know about you, but I wanted better results in my life because my life was not bringing about good results because I was constantly speaking negativity and complaints out of my mouth. So today, I want to share with you some of the ways that you can start to take action to conscientiously change the words that are coming from your mouth. Now, recently I was listening to Mark Batterson. He is a pastor and a writer from the Washington, D.C. area, and he spoke about something called the leverage point. The leverage point is this idea of the smallest action that you can take to achieve the biggest result. It's this idea of being able to take some small action that'll actually move a great deal. That's how leverage works, right? But in our lives, the words of our mouth are actually that leverage point. It's a small thing that we can change that's going to net this huge result. And I explained this principle to you in the first video, and you can go back and watch it for more in-depth information. But it works like this. The words of your mouth affect the mindsets that you have, which affect your attitudes, affect your actions, and ultimately affect your results. So that works positively and negatively. Negative words spoken out of your mouth give you a negative mindset, a negative attitude, which is going to cause you to take probably poor actions and get poor results. Positive words spoken out of your mouth are going to give you a positive mindset, a positive attitude, which brings about positive actions in your life, which will most likely result in positive results. So I hope that makes sense for you. Today, though, what I want to talk about is how you can begin to make that change in your life. I talked to you in the first video about becoming very conscientious about the words that are coming out of your mouth and stopping those negative things, not allowing them to come out of your mouth. And that's going to take some work, right? Because that's changing a habit. And we know that habits take time and consistency to change. So don't beat yourself up if on day 1 you start catching yourself saying all these negative things. Don't start in with more negative things like, oh, I'm the worst, man. I just can't get this right. I just keep saying bad things about myself. No, don't say negative things. Don't beat yourself up. Just realize when those negative words are coming out of your mouth and start being gracious with yourself and working on that change little by little. Because as you actively work on it, you will start to see results. But it's not going to happen overnight, right? I told you guys that this is a journey. It's not a quick fix. Okay. So if you've ever heard this concept, it's actually something that's in dieting. It's the idea that oftentimes when we try to restrict or take out foods, we don't do so well. Like, for example, if I am trying to lose weight and I just cut out a bunch of foods and a bunch of calories, I'm going to be focused on all the things that I'm cutting out, and it's going to probably be a lot harder for me to make progress. But one of the things that actually works better is to add in better choices. So if I'm trying to get rid of sugar, let's say, adding in healthy fruits and vegetables at each meal is going to help me focus on the good things that I'm taking in and not the bad things that I'm trying to get rid of. And so it's going to help my mindset shift, and it's going to make it a lot easier for me to make progress because I'm focusing on the good things that I'm adding in. And that's the same concept that works with the words of our mouth. If we're trying to stop saying negative things and all we're doing to do that is to just conscientiously think all the time about all these negative things that we're saying, it's going to be really hard to change. But actually, what brings about the best results is for us to consciously start saying good things out of our mouth, to start putting good things in as we're taking the bad things out. Does that make sense for you? So I want to give you some tools that are going to help you to begin speaking those positive words out of your mouth. The first thing is that my mentors encourage me, and you can see this in some of the videos, to start reading. And so I want to give you some reading recommendations that will actually help you with the words of your mouth. I'm going to start and give you 5 recommendations. Now that's a lot. You don't have to read all 5. You can pick one for whatever level that you're at. If this is a brand new concept to you, if you've never been told that the words of your mouth affect the results in your life, then I want to start very easy and basic for you. And I have 2 books in my stack right here that are both of those things. The first one is Pep Talk. It's by Terry Savelle Foy. Now, her writing style is very easy to read. It's very encouraging, very uplifting. This is written from a scriptural perspective, and she gives you a lot of her own affirmations. Affirmations are the positive things that we speak intentionally out of our mouth. She gives you a lot of examples of those, and she also gives you scripture to back those up. So if you're someone that's spiritually minded and that's your faith, then this is actually something that you can implement with your spiritual practice as well. So I want to encourage you, if this is a brand new concept for you, check out Pep Talk by Terry Savelle Foy. The second one is also a very easy read. It is by Joel Osteen. It's called The Power of I Am. And this talks about those positive declarations that you make over yourself. Those things like, I am capable, I am competent, I am getting better every day, right? Saying those things out of your mouth helps you to overcome those negative things that have been spoken into your life. Remember, I told you in the last video that it takes 5 positive things to overcome every negative. So we want to start using these I am statements to overcome the negative things in our life. So I encourage you to check out The Power of I Am by Joel Osteen. The next one I actually don't have in physical form because I read it on my Kindle, but it is called Badass Affirmations, and it's by Becca Anderson. Now this one is just your basic handbook of affirmations. She breaks it down by category and just gives you lists of affirmations that you can utilize in any category of your life. So if you're really struggling with speaking negative things over yourself in your career, then she will have some affirmations for you in that aspect. If you're really struggling over speaking negative things about yourself personally, she might have some affirmations for that. So she's got all kinds of great affirmations that you can basically read through this and pick out the encouraging statements that work for you and start to say them in your life. Now, I'm going to pause before I give you the last 2 videos. Here's the next important step about changing your words. We have to do this conscientiously, right? And I have said before on a lot of the platforms, if you follow me on any of these platforms, that when we're building new habits, we have to track those habits. We have to conscientiously make them a part of our lives. And so for me, and what I encourage you to do, is with my affirmations, those positive statements that I want to come true in my life, those things that I want to get into my mindset, my attitudes, my actions, and my results, is I actually take the time to write them down. For me, I write them in my phone, and then I record myself speaking them every single day. I listen to that recording. So I record those affirmations once, and then every day I push play on that recording so that I'm hearing those positive affirmations spoken out over and over and over and over again, and I'm speaking it with the tape so that it's getting ingrained in my brain and it's overcoming the negative. So I want to encourage you, as you read these books, if you find affirmations that you want to implement into your life, don't just be casual about it, because remember, we've been speaking these negative things without even realizing it. So we have to conscientiously speak these positive things to overcome that. So make a list of the positive declarations that you want to use, and then take some time, sit down when you have your list made, and record yourself. I do it on my cell phone. It's very quick and easy. It takes about 10 minutes for me to record those affirmations, and then I just push play on those when I'm driving in my car, and I do that once a day. Now, you can do it more times a day. I know some people that write 3 to 5 affirmations on an index card, and they carry it in their pocket everywhere they go, so that as they're waiting in line somewhere or at the doctor's office or or in traffic or whatever, they can pull that out, read those 3 to 5 affirmations, and they do that repeatedly over and over again throughout the day so that they get those things into their mind. For me, because I have so many, I actually take the time to listen to those once a day in my car, and those things get ingrained in my brain. So use that tool. Make yourself a recording, make it in a place that you can utilize it every day. Some people listen to it in the shower, some people listen to it while doing dishes, some people listen to it while getting ready or while cleaning. The important thing is that you are making a time when you know that these are going to get done. Don't be haphazard about this new goal, about this new habit. Make it a part of your daily life and take the time to really implement this, because it will net the best result if you're conscientiously making time for it. So I hope that makes sense, and I'm going to finish up here with the last 2 books for you. Now, here's a really in-depth book. So if you've already got the basics of affirmations down, I want to encourage you to check out Shad Helmstedter's book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Now, this is kind of an old book, and these concepts are, remember how I told you that when my mentor started first talking to me about this idea of the words of our mouth, that I was like, that's crazy? Well, a lot of things in this book kind of sound crazy, but as you start to put them into practice, you realize that a lot of these things are very true. And so I want to encourage you, after you've got the basics of affirmations, if you want to know more about kind of the science and the way that it works, and you want to really dive into it a lot more to actually get more results in your life, this is a great book to check out. Now, the last book that I'm going to recommend to you is actually the first book that my mentors gave me on this subject. And let me tell you guys, I don't recommend that you read this first, actually, because when I read this, I was like, this is garbage. And I tossed it out and was like, yeah, nope. But as I started to get the basics of affirmations, I started to learn more. I started to implement them in my life. I came back around to this book and I was like, oh, wow, yeah, that's true. And so the book is called Hung by the Tongue. This is written from a scriptural perspective also, and it talks about the fact that oftentimes those words of our mouth are what gets us in trouble. They're the things that trip us up, the things that hang us, the things that cause those bad results in our life. Because as we know, the words of our mouth affect our mindsets, affect our attitudes, which affect the actions that we take and the results that we get. I hope that you guys are getting this, because I've said it a lot of times now, and that's on purpose. So Hung by the Tongue, I recommend that you read this last because it is pretty extreme in its thought process. And for me, it was almost like a turnoff to me that I read it first. And it took me a little longer to get the concept because I was like, oh no, that's not true. So I want to encourage you to start with the basics and work your way up. It's like start taking your basic math before you jump into like algebra or something much harder that you don't know a lot about and it seems really wild, right? So learn those basics, those fundamentals, the 2 + 2 = 4 before you start trying to do the harder stuff. So take those basic affirmation books and then start digging into these harder concepts, these more higher up mental concepts. And so Hung by the Tongue is by Francis P. Martin. I want to encourage you to check that out. Now, I'm almost out of time, but there is one more resource that I want to give you. And this is something that I am super excited about. You guys, I recently started a Patreon page. And on that Patreon page, I have something that addresses this very topic for you. So there are 3 tiers on my Patreon page. The first tier, I'm going to give you, of course, the monthly content and videos that is only on Patreon. You can't get it on YouTube, on any of the other social media platforms, only on Patreon. And you're also going to get with that first tier my reading recommendation and a reading calendar for the month. Now, I've told you before in my video that reading is one of the first things my mentors recommended to me to do, and then reading the right things was the thing that helped me start moving in the right direction. So this is going to help you do both those things. Now, the middle tier is the one that I want to really tell you about today, because in that middle tier, it's called Growing Gradually. I give you a monthly affirmation calendar that can help you with positive affirmations that you can start speaking out of your mouth every single month on a daily basis. So I want to encourage you to check that out. I don't have time to tell you about the rest of it today, but I do want to tell you that the link for the Patreon is below. There's a link to the video, the intro video for Patreon that'll give you a little more in-depth information. But those are some resources that you can use if you want to start changing the words of your mouth. You guys, I believe that you have something great that you need to do, and changing those words of your mouth from negative to positive is going to help you get there. So I can't wait to see you succeed. I love you guys. I'm looking forward to talking to you again soon.